Miriam Balaban is the founder of the journal Desalination and Water Treatment, which is now joining Elsevier alongside Desalination, a journal Miriam also started, now more than 5 decades ago. Miriam is nothing short of a legend in the worlds of publishing and desalination. Since starting out as a journal founder, editor and publisher in Israel in the 1950s, she has been responsible for many journals and books and has reviewed and edited over 20,000 articles from more than 100 countries. Miriam has a talent for connecting people and creating communities. She started the European Association of Science Editors and the International Conference of Scientific Editors, among many others, and she has held leadership positions in various fields for decades, including as Secretary General of the European Desalination Society since 1993. Miriam has even been described as the soul of the society. Her extensive and wide-ranging achievements have made a real impact on the field of desalination and the broader research world. This has been recognised in Miriam's many prestigious awards, including Order of the Star of Italian Solidarity from the President of Italy, the Lifetime Achievement Award from the International Desalination Association, and the Sidney Loeb Award from the European Desalination Society. She was honoured by the Desalination branch of the China Water Enterprises Confederation for 50 years in the field of desalination, and she is an honorary member of the European Membrane Society. Today, she is a research associate at MIT in the USA, and at 95 years old, she continues to fly around the world to bring together and to get to know the scientific community, which is something she considers to be of great importance. To celebrate the renewed partnership with Elsevier, executive publisher Deirdre Dunn and I were honoured to speak to Miriam about her journey to desalination, her insights into publishing, and her hopes for the future. I wanted to start by asking you about how you got started in this field, because you studied chemistry and got into publishing very early. What interested you in publishing?
Well, first of all, that I created the first journal that I created before, which actually you might say was my training ground, and in Israel, where they didn't have a journal and they wanted to make a journal in English, an international journal. And here I was, just fresh and young from the University of Pennsylvania. And they offered me a job since I knew they wanted it in English. And here I was with native English, and they wanted to do a journal. Okay. So the person who interviewed me said, nobody stayed in this job more than 3 months, because they didn't have the journal yet. You had to create it. So, okay, all right, doesn't matter. For 3 months, I'll have a job, with the Research Council. And I got into it. I was good. It was good for me. And I did the editing. Oh, that's good. And I made the journal, made it happen. So that was my training ground, but apparently it suited me. So I was editing the Israel Journal. And in fact, I then said it can't all be in one volume, all the topics. And then I split it up and had several journals. So this was a real experience. Then I was invited to the US. And since here was an American doing journals, and to the Council of Biology Editors, and then became part of the international system. And I was very involved in the international, created the International Federation of Science Editors and so on. So I was really into the field very much. It became my field.
Yeah. Wow. You mentioned getting into the technical side of publishing.
I had to produce the journal, and I was introduced to the government printer, which had linotype, and linotype does not suit all the scientific equations, especially benzene rings. And then I told them, take a piece of lead and put some this way and some that way and some that way, and you'll make a benzene ring. And so I became very friendly with the printers, and some of them, the compositors, who had come from Europe and actually who were very experienced. And they loved the fact that I was really, introducing something and understanding that they had what limitations they had or what they could do. And we became very friendly. And then one of them said, there's a new machine, Monotype, in England. And, quickly I somehow got the investors. One was the publisher of the chemical rubber company. And he gave me some support, and I went to England, this young lady, to buy a monotype machine. They came with me, the printers, the compositor, the main compositor, and I established a little press. And he was doing the composition. In fact, in order to sustain it, I also got a job from the American Mathematical Society. I was doing their journal in the States. So I was really experienced in the technical side. I feel that background was extremely important.
You ended up starting what has transpired to be a very long-term relationship with Elsevier in, was it 1965, 66? Can you tell me a bit about how that came about?
Well, it came about because there was a conference in the States then. The Americans were much more, and they were really pioneers in that. There was a big meeting of the Office for Saline Water, Department of Interior, and in Washington, a big meeting on desalination. And I have the volumes here, in fact. And somebody said to me, "There's no journal in desalination." I said, "I'll make one." And therefore, with the background I just mentioned, I had the experience both in the editorial side and the production side. So I said, "I'll start one." And I did. And knowing many scientists already here in Israel, and of course, then internationally, I started the journal.
And of course, that seems to me that's your magic touch, is bringing people together and making connections and creating that kind of community. Do you think that's an important part of setting up a journal?
It is. It is. It definitely is. I got together an editorial board, and since, as you say, I was good at getting community together, and it was very important that I went to this first big conference in Athens. The head of it was Professor Delianis, a professor at the university there, who was the one who had a vision about desalination. And I started there. As a matter of fact, this is also the background of the European Desalination Society, because then we held conferences after that, but we didn't call it society then. It was just the Working Party on Fresh Water from the Sea. We had a conference every 2 years, and I published these. In fact, I published them and had them printed and ready to be distributed at the conference. And this was really due to the experience that I had had before and the press that I had. On the first volumes, you have on the top Jerusalem Academic Press, Elsevier Publishers, and Jerusalem Academic Press. So again, it was being ready with the tools as well.
You make it sound so simple, but I can imagine there were huge challenges involved.
Oh, yes, but it was wonderful getting to know the community. And this is very important, that I got to know the desalination community, the beginnings. I would go to the conferences and visit desalination plants, the early ones, and watching the field develop.
Desalination is still going, and you're on the advisory board. What do you see as its role in the field over the last 5 or more decades?
Oh, big role, because now we have references to papers that all the way through the decades. And this, I feel that this is a very important for history, even for the field itself. It's a very exciting field, a very important one. What's more important in our lives than water? We can't survive for more than a few days. And it's a challenge to really have enough water for the growing populations. So the sea is extremely important. It's not only the sea, of course, it's grown into water treatment, the whole field of dealing with water, whether it's from the sea or even brackish water. And of course, now we also have the brine mining topic, which is coming up. What do you do with the waste? And the waste is not now of value. So it's a very growing field. I mean, a very important field to the basic need for our existence.
This expanded with your second journal in this field. What made you decide to start this journal?
Well, because Elsevier wanted to go open access and I didn't. So that fellow kicked me out and I started another journal. I felt that there should be a way to enable all good papers to be published. Now there are more sophisticated systems, I think, for enabling that.
More than 50 years after the first time you connected with Elsevier, you're connecting again. What's different, or is anything the same?
They're different people, and I believe it's a fresh start. I'm getting on, and I would like to see futures. And I mean, I could keep it the way it is with my small organization. But I thought, well, I've met the new people and I like them. Deirdre, Daniela, and so on. So I just figured it's time that I would like to see it continue and that I should be able to let go and continue in a way, but with a solid backing and reunite with Elsevier, which in the beginning was very nice. And in fact, before starting Desalination, way back, I had a visit in Israel from Herman Frank and Maritz Decker from Elsevier, who were just beginning the new Elsevier. And I showed that in the board meeting, a little scarf that I still have from that visit. By chance, I had kept it. It was meaningful. It was very nice. It's a little red scarf. And so I feel that also with the new people, we can go ahead.
What are your expectations or hopes for the journal?
Well, that it continues to be one that's really, as I said, open to all who should be able to read it. And in fact, that also even includes, as I said, open access, okay, sustainability and so on, but also maintaining a possible inclusion of everybody who should be included. In other words, good papers, wherever they're from and at whatever cost. I'd like to see that happen. I think that will also maintain its success and at least my legacy. Because I was with 45 years with desalination, and now it's since 2009 with desalination and water treatment.
What do you see as some of the big topics coming out in the field?
Brine mining, that's been the big one. It's important because we're then not just throwing the brine back into the sea, which has been considered a waste and not good for the sea. So we'll turn it into value. We still have to figure out the brine that's still wasted, but okay, it's less. And the other thing we have to figure out is who owns the brine in the oceans then, since this is now value, who owns them? The country at the coast or the company or who? And also there's another thing that is now becoming more and more important, small units. Now the plants are becoming bigger and bigger, the plants that are doing the desalination on the seaside. Now they're talking about small units, even handheld, first of all, for people in remote areas or in general, just how significant that could be. The wastewater has become as important or significantly important as the desalination on the seaside.
Deirdre, is there anything you wanted to jump in with?
There's a lot. It's, really a lifetime of achievements. We're so happy that you're back to the Elsevier family. We're excited to work with you, and the whole process since we met last year has just been a breath of fresh air. It's amazing. I think you're an inspiration to everybody, and it's truly a pleasure and an honor to work with you on this and to work with you on this new project. and we'll keep your legacy going. And, you know, that's as important to us as it is to you. So it's all about teamwork, and we're very happy to do that with you.
Thank you very much, Deirdre. In fact, you and Daniela were the first re-entrance to Elsevier, and that really made me feel welcome and confident that it's a good step forward, and looking forward to working together.
Wonderful. And Miriam, from my point of view, thank you ever so much.
Thank you so much.